Hey everyone, it's Owen here from OTech, and I'm back with my second part of the Nero PC upgrade, which is my personal rig update. And I have finally gotten my replacement motherboard, and I've also gotten my refund from Amazon from my broken motherboard, as I've returned that motherboard to Amazon already. But yeah, now so the new motherboard works perfectly now. I could detect all four DIMMs memory sticks on all the four DIMM slots, and all of them are working at 3200 MHz as the stated GSkill TridentZ speed rating in the box. And that's also with an overclock on the CPU, which right now I've already found a stable overclock of 4.4 GHz with a 4.5 GHz clock speed for one of the cores, which is the favorite core in the broadwell-e. Since you know, broadwell-e processors and newer in the HGST CPU, so from Intel, has a favorite core, which is basically a core that overclocks better than the rest, which is indicated from the factory. So in the BIOS you can see a small asterisk that shows that that core is faster than the rest. So I just put it at 45 and it works fine. It's completely stable, and the rest of the cores are at 4.4 GHz, and this is at 1.36 volt for the CPU, and also at a 3.4 GHz 1.2 volt for the cache. So this is quite a good sample for the 6850K, I think, since I didn't need anything close to 1.4 volts to achieve 4.5 GHz and even more for one core, while most 6850Ks would need 1.4 volts or somewhere around there to reach 4.4 GHz, and some doesn't even want to go above 4.3 GHz. So I would say my sample is a little bit above average, even though it's not amazing since it doesn't hit 4.5 or 4.6 on all cores. But that could also just because I don't have a good enough cooler, since if I use 1.4 volts the temperatures will just be way too high, so I don't use that setting. But yeah, so it's 4.5 GHz, but the rest of the core is 4.4 GHz, and it's quite fast. In Cinebench I got about 1400 Cinebench points, 1395 to be exact, and 186 Cinebench points for single core. And also for the motherboard itself, I am very impressed, since this is a workstation motherboard. It's not advertised for gaming or overclocking, but it definitely can overclock, since you know, overclocking you just need good parts and good BIOS software, and this board definitely got both of those, especially since the VRM itself has a proper cooler with a real thin heatsink, unlike the pieces of blocky metal that you see on most motherboards these days that doesn't really have a lot of surface area, so it would just kind of dampen the temperature increase, but it wouldn't really dissipate much heat. Unlike this heatsink on this Asus motherboard, which has real heatsink fins and also a heat pipe connecting it to a second heatsink, which makes it much cooler and better than most VRM heatsinks. And it also overclocked my 6850K pretty good. So I'm quite happy with the results and with this upgrade. And yeah, for more performance results, you might have to wait, since you know, I haven't really completely tested this system fully yet, since I've only been testing it for a while, and you know, it's not completely finished yet. It's not a final setting. I still need to fine-tune the memory. I might try to reduce the memory timings or increase the memory clock speed a little bit. I'll see which one I should go for. But yeah, so that's it about the computer itself. Oh, and the H80i is keeping up pretty well for the 6850K, which I'm quite surprised, since it's a much higher TDP chip than the 4790K it used to cool, which is also delidded. And this is a soldered chip, the 6850K, so I think that helps. Plus the 6850K also has a larger die, so the higher TDP also gets spread in a higher area, so the thermal density kind of reduces. The thermal density kind of goes down a little bit, so the temperature doesn't increase much. It runs about like the low 80s on 2 cores, and the rest of the cores are mid to low 70s. So there's a temperature discrepancy on those 2 cores, which is core 2 and 4, and I've read online that it's quite normal for the high core count HGST CPUs to have a core temperature discrepancy like that, even though mine is quite large at about 13 to 16 degrees sometimes, depending on the load and the CPU settings. But I mean, it's running fine, so I don't really know what to complain about. It still works. It's just it's a little bit hotter than I'd like to in 2 of the cores, while the rest are pretty cool. So it would be nice if those 2 cores are cooler, so I could push the overclock a little bit higher. But I really doubt that this CPU can reach 4.5 GHz on all cores, since I tried 1.4 volts and running like simple programs that doesn't really heat it up. 4.5 GHz would just eventually crash, so I don't think that's stable anyways. But yeah, anyways, so I guess just cue the B-rolls and shots of my PC that's upgraded. Nothing fancy, but just thought it would be nice to show you guys about it. More of my PC. So yeah, enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed that, and so this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like and please click subscribe to see more of my future videos. Thanks for watching.